bloodshed in the streets of Iran. At least 7 people are reported to have been shot and killed after a mass rally over charges of election fraud. But the clerics who rule Iran have made one very significant concession this morning. CBS News correspondent Elizabeth Palmer is in Tehran with the latest.
Good morning. Iran's Guardian Council has ordered a recount in contested areas, although it's hard to see how a limited recount would reverse President Ahmadinejad's sweeping victory.
The announcement came the day after several people were killed in the capital following demonstrations. At least one man died after shots were fired, apparently in response to an unknown group attacking the headquarters of the Basij paramilitary force. And reports say several more had been killed the previous night at the University of Tehran. But there was no violence at the biggest rally the city has seen since the 1979 revolution. Tens of thousands of opposition supporters, mostly young, marched to Freedom Square. It was a happy crowd to start with, and people relaxed even more as it became clear riot police were under orders not to interfere. They all came to see this man, the defeated candidate Mir Hussein Mousavi, who hadn't been seen in public since last Friday. Inching through the crowd aboard his four-wheel drive with a handheld microphone, he told the crowd, "Our people want respect and for their votes to be counted." A record number of Iranians, fully 80%, turned out to vote last week. Hours after the polls closed, the results showed that President Ahmadinejad had won in a landslide. But immediately, all 3 opposition candidates accused the government of fraud.
Last night, the Interior Ministry finally released a breakdown of the vote. Those who've been saying it was rigged will be doing some serious number crunching today to see if they can find any proof.
CBS's Elizabeth Palmer in Tehran. Joining us now from Capitol Hill is Senator Richard Lugar, the senior Republican on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning.
Are we witnessing a second Iranian revolution?
Well, certainly the clerics who govern Iran hope not, but they are in charge. They are the government. The election is interesting, but not decisive. And the clerics essentially have had a truce of sorts with the young people of the country. That apparently is in jeopardy. The clergy recognize this, and this is why I suspect they've made the concession of more vote counting. Likewise, have been restrained in terms of the large demonstrations that you've already illustrated. I suspect it's a case also in which the clergy who run the country understand the difficult negotiations with the United States and Europeans and others lie ahead. And this is very troubling to have a president such as Ahmadinejad on their hands. And I'm sure they're pondering over that result.
So you have Ayatollah Khamenei, who is really the de facto leader of the country. He is, in fact, the spiritual head of this country. He certifies the election immediately, then turns around a day later and says, no, we will, in fact, count these disputed votes or recount these disputed votes. Does that mean there is now a crack in his heretofore undisputed power?
No, I don't think so. I think that Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, being a realist of the situation, recognizes that perhaps lightening up a bit might be useful, that the young people are now sophisticated enough using Twitter and electronic means to communicate with the rest of the world what's occurring, even if there's a suppression of the normal press. So as a result of that, I think the Ayatollah is hopeful that he's not going to humor the young people, but he's going to try to lessen the parades that they're having, which are taking the same route as the 1979 revolution, and that is rather ominous for the Ayatollah.
Right. Some Iran watchers say that, in fact, Ahmadinejad has tremendous support among poor people, among civil servants, among former members of the National Guard there. Is it possible that the election is, in fact, what he says it is?
It is possible that he had a majority of the vote. It's also the fact that the persons who are his constituents, for the moment, have about 17% unemployment. We're told 25% inflation, deteriorating economy. There could be very great unpopularity on that front, too, quite apart from the more sophisticated, affluent students in Tehran.
Right. Beyond watching, beyond what President Obama said last night, being disturbed at the pictures he's seen, beyond supporting the idea that these disputed votes should be recounted, is there anything the United States can do?
No, I think for the moment our position is to allow the Iranians to work out their situation. When popular revolutions occur, they come really from the people. They are generated by people power within the country. For us to become heavily involved in the election at this point is to give the clergy an opportunity to have an enemy, right, and to use us really to retain their power.
Senator Richard Lugar, we thank you so much for your expertise and insight this morning. Do appreciate it.